Hello, I'm Stan Hall, and this is Centerville, Ohio, visiting my in-laws. I'll show you what Ohio has to offer. Down here at Grant Park, you can swing and play on the playground equipment. You can throw rocks into the river. This here is my wife. She's working on her MBA, so she's usually pretty busy, like you can see, so I'll do most of the talking. My father-in-law has quite the green thumb and has been growing this poinsettia for many years. Most of the time, the leaves are in fact green, but in the darkness of winter, they turn to red, but only for a short time for them to fall on the floor and for my mother-in-law to have to clean up. Isn't it beautiful? When my father-in-law is not gardening, he likes to spend a lot of his time in the day-lit basement, playing pool, watching the Cincinnati Bengals, or reviewing his two-step class on YouTube, where he acts as the harbinger for all videos for their website. Here, he's reviewing Waltz Across Texas by Ernest Tubb, though he's noticed a discrepancy in the instructor's performance. He went on later to ask his wife to bring it up with the dance instructor because he feels like he's always bringing up mistakes the instructor is making and didn't want to make a fuss, so it would be better if she were to have brought up the fact that the dance instruction to Waltz Across Texas by Ernest Tubb was incorrect. I don't know though if she ever brought it up, as dance class was the week after we had gone back home. The next morning, my wife and I woke up early to go to the local spot.
Going to Bill's Donuts.
Bill's Donuts, to get some donuts for the family as well as her 99-year-old grandmother who we would be visiting later. We loaded up in the Ford EcoSport, which was the only rental car that she would allow us to take because the Dodge Challenger, which I wanted, had rear-wheel drive and would not be good in the snow. But the Ford EcoSport had four-wheel drive. However, the Ford EcoSport is not a very good car. It's somewhere between a car and an SUV and does neither of the things it's supposed to do well. It's neither sporty nor ecologically friendly, as its gas mileage only comes in somewhere in the mid-20s. But it was good enough to get us to Bill's Donuts. When we got into Bill's Donuts, though, there were a lot of people who just didn't have masks on, and coming from a liberal mecca like Seattle was a little disjointing, so it was hard to get video footage while in there, but I did find some stock footage of a donut shop, and is pretty close. I think one thing my wife and I have learned this pandemic is our different comfortabilities with going out. As an extrovert, I very much like to be around people, and I try to be understanding, and I know some people are perhaps just not thinking out for the general public and aren't wearing a mask, but I've always felt as long as I have my mask to CDC standards such as the KN95 mask, well, that's about as good as I can do. But I do understand the concern and caution, and seeing as we were still going to go see her 99-year-old grandmother later that day, I do understand being cautious. We did take an at-home test before we went to go see her grandmother, so we would know not to be spreading a virus unnecessarily during a pandemic. My father-in-law was able to borrow a guitar from a neighbor so that I could play it for Deanna's grandmother. You can see here we don't have our masks on because, well, her grandmother insisted as long as we were vaccinated we take them off, and I'm not in the business of telling a 99-year-old what to do. I played every bluegrass song I knew and she sang along. She was very happy. Later, she offered me a Bud Light while she drank a Bailey's. She said, "It's no fun to drink alone." And I think I agree with that. That was the best drink that I have ever had. As the low alcohol percentage beverages started to hit our bloodstream, she insisted on dancing. And at 99, she still has the moves, though at times it looked like she might fall over. Well, the rest of the trip was pretty good. I got to hang out with my nieces and nephews, though only one niece, Sylvia, had the guts to go outside during the cold weather and fly the drone with me. I think the only bad part of the trip, outside of the Ford EcoSport, was Skyline Chili, which is chili, cheese, and onions piled high onto a plate of unseasoned spaghetti. For some reason, Ohioans love it. I did not enjoy my Skyline Chili experience. It is also worth noting that I am unable to give a comment on the city of Cincinnati, Ohio. As for when Deanna and I went to go visit Cincinnati, just about everything and every store was closed. I don't really blame Cincinnati for being closed on that day for their team, the Cincinnati Bengals, who only last year had only won 2 games the whole season, had just won the AFC Championship the night before. So I imagine many Cincinnatians had been going out partying the night before and, well, opening curio shops so I could find another state-themed patch for my backpack on Tuesday was probably a lot of work. But maybe perhaps when I go back, I will see some more things that are open in Cincinnati and can give you a better idea of what I think of that city. All in all, it was a pretty good trip. The weather wasn't so great, but it really made me appreciate the temperate winters here in Seattle. Just as Don Quixote would say, hunger is the best sauce. 4 days in cold and gray and salty Ohio really did make me miss and love mid-40s, constant overcast, dreary rain. I imagine I'll be back in Ohio at some point, seeing as now half of my family lives there, and so maybe there'll be more videos in the future. I sure hope you enjoyed this one.